Right. Let me see. Right. Okay. So last week, where we have stopped, Puta? Can you remember? So, okay, we'll start from here then. Right. So we uh, basically we discuss human resource planning and planning. I think I have explained to you, but I just quickly go through, right? Future employee needs and planning mean we are trying to find out what are our future requirements, what are the future human resource requirements. And then we in fact discuss the importance of human resource planning, and I think I have explained to you. And then I discuss about the process, right? First, you need to forecast your future demand requirement, and then we discuss the estimations of human resource supply, right? That mean how we are going to fulfill the demand, and then if there is a gap, how we are going to fill this gap and assess, right? So we have discussed all these things, right, last time, to my knowledge, right? So therefore, I think we have discussed succession planning as well. Okay, labor turnover. Have you discussed with the labor turnover? No. Yes or
Sir,
no?
by
Huh?
HR planning process,
Yeah,
we stopped at there, sir.
we have not discussed. I can
Uh,
remember I told you.
we stopped by HR planning process, that flow chart.
Flow chart. Okay, okay, right. Right. So I will start from there. This is the one, no? Yeah,
Yes,
this
sir.
is the right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, anyhow, I try to explain to you on this, right? Okay, now HRP process. Now, what is HRP process mean? And this is human resource process. Now, this process basically uh, any bank need to be prepared. Now, focus of future demand for human resource. Now, forecast future demand. How we are going to forecast? Now, what are the factors affecting for forecasting demand? That means now your HR department need to prepare how many people you need to for an organization next year or after 2 years, like that. There may be a reasons. What are the factors you're going to take into account when you are deciding your future demand? One is your strategic plan. Now, example I can tell you. Now, your strategic plan, you suppose you need to prepare 10, you want to open new 10 branches next year, say 2022. Will you plan to establish new 10 branches? So one branch you need 5 people. For 10 branch, how many people you need? 50 people you need. That is you forecasting future demand. So you need at least 50 people to occupy the new branches. So you take forecast future demand based on your bank organizational strategic goal, right? Okay, that's the one thing. So you need to look at it. Goals and strategic plan of the organization, you may going to look at it. Right? Therefore, you need 10 branches you are going to open. You need 5% for Y people for one branch. So altogether 50 people you need. Second one, so there are some people who live in your organization, right? Usually, average, right? Leaving the organization. Give resignation for you going for abroad or whatever. You can just determine. Then you can think about how many people is going to retire. Suppose your bank retirement age is 55. Now 2022 how many people are going to retire pension, right? Or maybe due to suppose again you need to improve your mm, uh, new business activity like credit card operation. So then likewise, so you can consider how many people you need for 2022. That is what you call forecast future HR requirement. What are the factors you are going to take into account? One, based on your organizational strategic goals and objectives. Example, 10 branches open 2022. Right. Then you have to say how many people going to retire during 2022. How many people usually be promoted sometimes. Then gas post is vacant. Then how many people you are going to resign from the organization. With your past experience, you know how many people are going. So now you know exactly what is your demand for HR. Then you're going to look at it, your supply. Now, how are you going to fulfill your supply? You can do it in two ways. But how you can do? You can use it internally and externally. Right? Suppose that if you find it out, your current employees to fill those vacancies. Or you may have to take from the market. Right? So for that, usually HR, you may have a auditing current HR. Now auditing means the HR audit, right? You know how many people you are having. So then there is a balance. Right? Okay. Then you say there is a balance. No. Now what is the third step? Forecast the future demand. Then estimate how much is available. Compare forecast demand and estimated supply. Suppose your forecasted demand is more than supply. Right? Now you say your forecasted demand is more than supply. Then what are the strategies you can use it? One strategy you can use it. It is in your handout also. Overtime. Now ask existing people to do more work. Second one, you can subcontract certain works to other organizations. You can subcontract. Then hire part-time employees. You can hire part-time employees. Right? Or otherwise you can hire. Can you hold on for a minute? Take a comment down and make a PowerPoint. Take a make a room down. Just give me a minute, right? You know it. Economic link is bad. When the gun on right now, what you need to know about this, right? Okay. Now, what are the shortages? Now, how are you going to fulfill the shortages? One is work overtime. Sometimes hire part-time employees. Or sometimes, now you noted that, internships, right? The students we take into the organization, some are temporary basis, get people to work, right? Or maybe capital substitution. Now the capital substitution means, suppose you replace the people with some machines. Now, if you have a machine, the machine work done by earlier employees. Now, 3 people you need to do one job. Now, the capital instruments, that mean networking or whatever, you can replace the people. So, another way you can reduce the meet the shortages. Or otherwise, the final thing, you are going to take completely people outside to the organization, right? Okay, now, so now what we have discussed, forecast the future demand. Now you know how to forecast the demand. So you look at what are your future requirements based on your strategic plan, how many people are leaving usually, What are your terminations or what are your retirements? All you take into account, you know, right? This is my forecast future demand. Estimate HR supply. How many people are there at the moment? Right? So extra, usually HR department is having how many people are there. Then you require so much. You having only you need X amount of people. You are having a Y amount of people. Now X minus Y. So how are you going to put the balance? So for that balance, you can do like this. Work overtime, you existing people to work more, some contract, hire part-time, capital substitution, or hire temporary full-time or permanently if you take the people, right? Okay, suppose if you're not having the surplus extra, you have a demand is supply is more than demand, then what happened? How you are going to address that? Okay, you said no overtime at all and don't hire new people. Then request existing people to voluntary retirement. So we give them a small packages. If you retire, we give you a 3 month salary or 1 year salary like that. That is voluntary retirement. So existing people to voluntary retire. Or you may be lay off. Day off mean you may terminate. Right? And you and also you terminate as well as you stop all the other extra payments. Or you may find it out jobs for your people. That is very rarely happen, right? So these are the two strategies you can do, you can implement if you have excess staff or if you have a less staff, right? Okay. So then if you not meeting all these things, you are going for recruiting outside. Clear? Right? So that is HR plan is called about. Then why we need to create a HR plan? Right? Actually, it's this HR plan, remember, facilitate for you to plan your recruitment. I will tell you recruitment, what is that and all. Right? And through the HR plan, you get an idea how much you need. Accordingly, you may allocate the budgets, right? All things, right? So whether to how many people you need to be redeployed or maybe redundancy, that means you ask him to go, right? What sort of training needs you require? Suppose you have existing people, you want to promote to the, now say bank managers, we have branch opening 5 bankers, we need 5 managers. So you can promote assistant managers as a brand manager. Then what sort of training you must give to him? All advantage may be available when you have a HR plan. Okay, clear now? Right. Then finally, we discuss there's a huge shortage. That means your demand is more than supply. Now you can take people from the inside. Then what is the alternative? Then you may go for look for a new people, take it from the external market. Clear? So that is what you call, we are going to take new people to your organization. But sometimes you don't want to get a new people. So if according to the central bank, you need to prepare a succession plan. Now that succession plan means a process of identifying and developing internal people with the potential to fill the key leadership position in the organization. Now, especially the banks, right? They plan who is going to be the next DGM. who is going to be the next CEO, who is going to be the next MD, like that. According to the central bank, every bank must need to prepare a succession plan. So succession plans tells you, you keep it ready people to moving to the next post. Sometimes the examiner asks you, write short notes about the succession plan, right? So today, succession planning has become a very important leadership process, and growing number of firms have formal plans in place. A lot of private banks are preparing their succession plan. Now, usually, you can't prepare for succession plan for each and every post, but usually for little higher ranks, maybe above AGM, they must have a succession plan. But it's a very sensitive, it is a very sensitive plan to be prepared. Why? The problems, right, facing, right? Sometimes through succession plan, sometimes whatever, outside more talented people may missing. Now, since now succession plan mean you are giving some sort of a promotion to your internal people, right? So therefore, there is a possibility of a good talented people where you can take it from outside as a general manager or GM is not there. But for another advantage, it will morale the existing employees. It's a motivational tool, right? And people who knows better in the organization setup, the outsider may not knowing anything, right? And so therefore, succession planning also, remember, provide a facilitate training and development. Now, say today you have identified your DGM is going to be a next year's GM. Example. Now itself, bank can provide him a training how to, about certain accepting the positions of CEO. Therefore, succession planning provide training facility, right? What the type of training required. And it is but remember, it should be used as a very systematic way of promoting people. Otherwise, there may be a lot of issues taking place within the organization. If you done it very systematic way, openly, so there won't be any issues. Otherwise, as I told you, it's a very sentimental issues can be taking place because of succession planning. But it is a mandatory plan, you need to remember. Right. If the examiner asks from you what is succession plan, or write short notes about the succession plan, so these are the things you need to write. It increases the availability of experienced and capable employees that are prepared to assume available roles, and it will facilitate the identify the capable people, and it can be considered as a motivational tool because existing people give a chance to be promoted, right? And it facilitates also to identify sort of a requirements of training development they needed for that particular person to become a next level person. And also there are some disadvantages as well. Every time when you ask about write a short notes, always say definition, say advantage. If there is any disadvantage, both you need to write. Right? Remember, if the examiner asks you usually a short notes, then you have to write what is that, why it is advantage, why may be not good, and what are the limitations or whatever. So that's a comprehensive short note. Okay, right. Right, then we moving to from this point to a labor turnover. So that is my question. Now, what is labor turnover? Labor turnover mean basically, right? It is you can write down under that number of people, right? It is the number of people leaving the organization in a given period of time. the number of people or number of employees leaving the organization in a given period of time. Now, say for an example, we'll take now this as a percentage. Say total number of employees, right? Total number of, from that, how many are leave this year? Say 2021. Now say 2021, right? You say 30 people leaving or left the organization, divided by number of employees in your organization, say around 100, or maybe say 300, multiply by 100. So then what is the figure? 30 divided by 300 multiplied by 100. So 103, 10%. So what is your labor turnover ratio? 10%. Now, what do you think whether that 10% labor turnover is high or not? What do you think, Gayatri? Kalinga? Now, you know what is labor turnover? Number of people, number of employees who leaving the organization in a given period of time. Right? How you calculate? Leaving the employees left the organization divided by total number of employees into 100. Now say this year, say assuming 30 people left the bank. So your bank is having 300 people into 100. What is the percentage? 10%. So 10% is good or bad? Kalinga, you think it's too much? Now, I know certain banks in Sri Lanka, especially some private banks, their labor turnover is very high. I don't ask for which bank, right? Some private banks, a lot of people are leaving due to various reasons. But it's a good thing or a bad thing. One way it impacts the reputation. That means then people thinking, there's something wrong. Why people are leaving? There's something wrong in this bank. One. Second point, the customer relationship also. Why? Now, say, customer comes to your bank and you find it out, all are new papers. Then usually customer asking, where is that boy or where is that girl? Then you said, he has left. He kept quiet and come back again another day and see that, where is that boy? That boy also left. Now, customer think, why these people are leaving? There's something wrong with the bank. He's going to bankrupt or he withdraw the money. Right? And those are not good. And another factor here, because if you want to train a person, banks spend a lot of money, right, for coming to that post. Interview cost, right, training cost, so additional cost. That is why some banks, you are not supposed to do that, but some banks are taking 50,000 deposit. If you are leaving within 2 years, the 50,000, you won't get it. Now, they absorb that cost. But you're not supposed to do things like that. So, you have to find it out from their HR department. You have to find it out why these boys or why these employees are leaving the organization. They try to find out solution to that. Okay, that's otherwise person join the bank, usually never leave. No, if your person join the bank, usually they try to stick to the bank. So that means something wrong with this bank. So therefore, there's a positive side as well as a negative side. Usually labor turnover is 10% is very high. Right? It's a cost to the bank. Reputation, cost, customer relationships, all matters. Right? Okay. So why people are leaving usually? So many reasons people leave the organization. One, of course, more pay. If you get a better position, better payments, better salary, you leave the organization, join another organization. Or maybe if you find it out, there is no any career development while working in your bank, you won't say, I be here for the as banking assistant for the last 7 years. I won't see any future development my career. So I will look at it place where you can have that opportunity. So that's why people are leaving. Third one, you can say you are not sure your job. Anytime he can be sack me, terminate me, lay off me, or whatever. No job security. Then you leave the organization. Or if you feel it, if you don't want to develop your skills also. Some people want to develop their skills. You're doing the same job over and over again. Also, you'll be monotonous, right? Boring. You're not develop your skills. And then you find out multi-skill job. And also, there may be a poor relationship with your manager or maybe your colleagues. So manager, maybe, harassing you. Sometimes it's sexual harassment, bullying, pulling, like that. All matters for you to leave the organization. Right? Bullying or harassment, so especially the sexual harassment, which is taking place especially in the banks, private bank in Sri Lanka. That doesn't mean state bank also do the same, right? Okay. Other one, your personal reason. What are the personal reason? Personal reason may be due to pregnancy, or maybe your husband or wife transfer to another place. So say you usually go with him, so you stay at home. Then after pregnancy, what happened? So there's a children, nobody to look after the children, and then ladies are say bye to the bank. So there are some reasons why people are leaving the organization, right? That is something. So far, no question asked, no questions asked, right? But remember, you need to understand what is labor turnover. Number of people are leaving in organization in a given period of time, right? It expresses as a percentage. Okay, why? What are the good things and the bad things about the labor turnover? Right. Okay. Now I told you earlier. Now you find out. You need to have you need some people. So you need to take the people to your organization. That process we call a procurement. Like any goods you take, we call it a procurement process. No, similar way, if you take new people to your organization, that process we call HR procurement. HR procurement. Now this HR procurement consists of 4 main steps. These are the steps we are going to discuss. First one, recruitment. Second one, selection. Third steps, hiring. Fourth one, induction. Now, this is very easy thing. Now, most of you are, suppose if you are working in the bank, you may remember the procurement process you have undergone. කාලික මතකද? කොහොමද ජොබ් එකට ගියේ විදිය? කාලික, can you remember? Right?
Yes, sir.
Right? Can you remember?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. Now that is a process. Now you will recall. Now, not only calling, even for others, Gayatri, all must know what is your procurement process. Now, think on that and try to answer, try to study the process, right? Okay. Now, going back again, the process. First one, recruitment. Now, recruitment. Now, a lot of students and a lot of people not understood recruitment and selection. A lot of people thinking recruitment means taking people to the organization. No. You as a student of studying HR, you need to understand exactly the difference between recruitment and selection. Now, what is recruitment mean? Is the process of finding and attracting suitably qualified people to apply for the employment, to get the more number of potential candidates, right? That is the recruitment. Now say there is a vacancy of branch manager, for an example, branch manager. Now you want to recruit person to fill that job. Now what is the HR manager's job? You try to attract people who are having suitable for this post. Right now, say, right now you carried out a better recruitment process. How can you do? What is the purpose of recruitment? I will explain to you, right? Okay. The recruitment process increased the size of the applicant pool at a minimum cost. හොඳම සෙට් එකක් තමයි රික්‍රූට් කරන්න අපි හොයාගන්න ඕන. Right? Now why I am telling you? Because the next step is what? The selection. Next step is the selection. If you've not done your recruitment properly, the selection is going to be impacted. Now, what is recruitment? I have a talented pool of candidate. කාව තෝරගන්නද මන් දන්නේ. ඔක්කොම එක වගේ banking කරලා all are very energetic. They are more techno savvy, so they have a lot of professional qualification, A-level, good marks, and all things. Now, say manager, right? All are well experienced people. There are, say, 50 people you have identified as recruitment in the recruitment process. All 50 are equally good. Then my selection is easy. Why? Selection means I am going to select the best out of best. Best out of best. I'll leave it for a time being the selection. If you are not done your recruitment properly, what happened? You don't know, maybe the wrong person can be selected. Right? So the recruitment job is to get the more number of potential candidates. Right? So chances of being failure by the organization by selecting the bad guy is zero. Why? Because you have recruited all talented people. Now that is why recruitment play an important role. To facilitate recruitment, you must have a first identify vacancy. Then only you can recruit people. Right. Okay. Then what is the function of HR for that? Human resource planning. Human resource planning tell you these are the positions you're going to recruit. Then you must have job analysis. Now you recall what is job analysis. What is that? Job description and job specification. First, you need to tell what is the job as a training man. Is this as far as concerned is the job branch manager, and what is the qualification you need to have it. So that is job analysis. also facilitate your recruitment. If you take here recruitment, right? One factor is what? Human resource planning. Another factor, job analysis, where it's correctly explain the job description and the job specification. What is the job? Now, job is branch manager. Here in my case, what is the qualification? You say, oh, these are the qualification. You 5 years experience in branching operations, and having a degree or A level or banking qualification or whatever. Those are personal requirements. Then another recruitment supported with what? The reward management. Right? You say recruitment here, planning, here the job analysis, and this reward. So how much you're going to pay you? What is the benefits you're going to get it for this job? And then next step is the selection. So certain factors is contributing to the recruitment. Right? Okay. Then if you look at it now, the recruitment process, identify the job vacancy. Now from where you get the identification? Through human resource planning. Okay. Second, ascertain the job requirement. So what is the job and the job descriptions and job? What next? Job descriptions and job specification. What are your requirements? Third step, consider factors affecting recruitment. What is that? What is your organizational policy? Whether you to take people from inside or we are going for outside. Internal promotion, outside. So if you are going to select outside, what is the cost? All matters we look at it. Then you have a job application form. Some banks are having the standard format. Some banks say you can have it your own. By having the standard format, easy to compare, easy to shortlist. Right? Okay, then select the methods of recruitment. Whether, now suppose your organization's policy to take the internal people, you're going out for internal people. Or otherwise it is open, you may consider what is the method I'm going to use, whether it is internal or external. Then you execute your recruitment plan. So all are apply for the applications. Then what recruitment do? Evaluate the recruitment. What are you look at it evaluating? Your job description and job specification. If they ask qualification, if they ask experience, they work it out. Now you receive 100 of recruitments, or that means application. Now are you going to interview all the people? No. Then what you are trying to do, you are going to take maybe say 100 people. Now you got, now some jobs, the banking assistant, like that, you may get sometimes is around 50,000, 20,000, like that. Right? Remember, so demand. So it's time consuming, no? Right? Therefore, certain set of people will go through your application and evaluated, and that we call what? Shortlisted. We call shortlisted. Now we receive 100 people. So we receive, okay, out of 1,000 people, right? We have select best 100 people. So that is recruitment talk about, right? That doesn't mean he has taken the organization, right? No. Recruitment, again, remember, selecting, or I mean, sorry, creating a pool of candidates who are having potential to be selected. Right. Now you know the recruitment process. Now we further study about the recruitment methods. So you can do internally. I told you based on your policy. Maybe you may call for an intranet. Right? Intranet you can call, or circular wise you can, right, ask for internal people to apply. Or may use the succession plan also. You go through your succession plan, you find it out, these are the people, you can call for an interview. Suppose the succession plan have 5-6 people. Then do otherwise you go for external. You put an advertisement in the newspaper, right? You may advertise in the internet or bank website, or maybe you can call some job agencies, third party, if you don't want to disclose the name of the bank. Or you can call IBSL and ask people, send people, students. Or sometimes they say, no, just walking. What is meant by walking interviews? Right? They say, now I can remember there is a walking interviews carried out by one time Union Bank. They said, okay, Saturday 9 to 3. Anybody can come with some application, walk-in interview. Less cost. Right. Now, there's a recruitment methods. Okay. Now, going back again, there are some advantages and disadvantages of these methods. Now, what are the advantages of taking a job manager, I mean, our case is branch manager, internally? Comparatively less cost, because he has already have a knowledge about your own organization. Maybe management well aware about the candidates who apply for the job, and also he promote the motivation. And then union, if you have a strong union, they also supported them, and also performers were rewarded. I mean, good performers are rewarded. These are advantages. But there are disadvantages of internal recruitment. But so they think everything he knows. Now suppose the organization need bring new blood to the organization, new innovation idea to the organization, right? Then of course better to take external people, right? So therefore there may be advantages and disadvantages of internal recruitment. So then you look at the external requirement. So there are again advantages and disadvantages. So whatever the advantages in internal recruitment is become a disadvantage of external recruitment. Whatever the disadvantages in internal recruitment become advantages of external recruitment. Right? Okay, now you know how you will take outside and inside. Okay, now as I moving to my former question, Kaling, you are the number one is in my site. What is the method you recruited Kaling? You are not selected yet, yeah? You are recruited. What is the methodology? Kaling, how you recruited? I think you are working in a bank, no? Sampath? Or which bank you are? Kaling? Sampath. Okay. Now, how you enter into the Sampath? What is the recruitment?
First there the interview, and then
No. That is a selection process, Puta. What makes you to apply, or how you apply? The newspaper, or
Just after
as a
just
bank.
after also advertisement.
Advertisement, right? That is the recruitment, Buddha. Now, that is what I am telling now. Even though you are listening to me, you mentioned the selection process. No, I'll ask the recruitment process, not the selection. How you apply, how Gayatri apply, how Abhishek apply. I'm not going to ask from everybody, right? Right? There's a way of, so that is your recruitment. Clear now? හරිද? හොඳට තේරුණාද? Clear, Buddha? Right? Very much clear?
Yes, yes.
Right. Devi, you understood how you joined? Come on, let the keyword. Achala, how you joined, Achala? How you recruited rather than saying join. Achala, how you joined? Kiana Baid. Hi, Imandi?
From the ministry.
From the?
Ministry support.
Right. Okay. That's okay. That's all. That is way. But anyhow, they also apply, for the job. There's a way of, no. So there may be advertisement, apply like that. No, the support is different way, Buddha. But you went in the, you apply. There is an advertisement or something, or without no advertisement, you just apply, no, or whatever, right? Okay. So there is a way of recruitment, right? Okay. Now we move into the next step. So what is that? Is the selection, right? Is the selection. Now you have like this talented workforce, talented candidates. Now organization is going to take a one manager. That is the selection. Now if the examiner asks you, what is the difference between recruitment and selection? So you need to give a correct answer. So examiner can ask you whether the recruitment and selections are same or different. If not, give the answer. Or what is the difference between recruitment and selection? Now you know, recruitment is electing potential candidates at a low cost. Selection, the process of finding the most appropriate candidate to fill the vacancy out of the pool of candidates. Right? අර ගට්ටියකින්ම ඔන්න අපි තෝරගන්න එක්කෙනෙක් තෝරගන්නවා අපි කිව්වේ මැනේජර් වශයෙන්. So that is the selection. So therefore the selection is what? Aim to choosing the best person for the job from the field of candidates, those of via recruitment. I think you understood. So whatever the selection method you use, it shows the reliability, the validity, the fairness and cost effectiveness. Right? Whatever the methods. So what are the objective of selection? Objective of selection, to get the right person to the job. Because now see how much of money and how much of time you spend that person to take to your organization. Right? It is basically a time and money intensive exercise. You need to understand that. Right. So has a direct effect on the quality of HR available in the organization, and ineffective selection impairs organization success. Now, ultimately, they are the people who are going to execute organization goals and objectives. So they are the people requested to do performance better. Right? All factors you need to look at it. Because they're expecting a more contribution to the organization. So therefore, you need to select the best people to the organization. If you take the wrong people, still they're losing. right? Okay. Now, how are you going to select? Now, that is what Kalinga are going to discuss with me. What is it? I go for an interview. That is the process of selection. Right now, first you have a screen, you have a application shortlists people. Sometimes you may, before you going for an interview, you may have a test. They check you IQ test, different tests. I think most banking assistants are like that. But when it's come to the manager level jobs, they won't have a test usually, right? Why? Because he has in the banking for a couple of years and he has passed that one. So therefore, usually that sort of a grades, we may not have the test. But sometimes the secretaries, IT operators, they must have a test. Secretaries' speed of dictating like that, there may be a test, right? But not the brand managers level, but usually they started with the interviews, right? Okay, right. Then you may have a different type of interviews. Now, different type of tests also, as I told you, aptitude test, personality test, situational test. And what do you mean by a situational test mean? Those are, we call psychographic testing. Now, situational test mean you were given something, right? Put you into trouble, try to sort it out some problem. All matters, right? So there are different, I don't want to explain all these tests. We call psychological testing, where the HR psychology need to be attended for these tests, right? In whatever test you have, right? You carry it out. And then usually after test, once you pass the test only, sometimes, most of the time, you call for an interview. Then interview may be, maybe panel interview, right? Situational interview, in-depth interview, unstructured and structured interview, like that. There are different methods of interview. Now, you noted in your hand, in your picture, in a slide picture, and this is usually type of one-to-one interview for a little higher jobs, right? Higher job, maybe manager, right? Okay, otherwise usually have a panel, 5 or 3 people, one from HR, one from operation, like that. They will ask questions from you. Sometimes there may be unstructured question. They want questions, unwanted things also. Sometimes they ask questions about you, you put into an unpleasant situation, right? Sometimes they ask questions about, can you come tomorrow? Something like that also. So you're working in a particular bank and you're offering, can you come tomorrow or maybe given 2 weeks time? And then you say, yeah, I'll join. Then other people will think, how he's a responsible person. Why? Now he put that bank into trouble. Oh, otherwise he's a useless person. Why? Because when you leave and join the bank, you must give a reason for that. Otherwise, you put that bank into a trouble. So sometimes certain questions asked by the interview panel to see whether your commitment, your enthusiasm, your honesty, all factors, all personal characters can be checked from the interviews. Now, sometimes you noted that the interview panels, right, there is a room, big, say for an example, say conference room, right? The interview panel is somewhere in the corner of the that particular room. Now there is a door there in the roller door with having the maybe around 10, maybe 10, 15 meters away. The panel sitting on the extreme corner. Now you just enter to the interview room. You have to walk maybe 15 meters or 10 meters. Now, interview panel may look at it, you get funny. Right now, first time you may be wearing a saris and all, you have to work, you have the high steel also. When you're walking, they all look at it, you get panic. All things, right? So they tested you all, right? And they sit. And they were asked to sit. Some people may say, Gahano, Dola Gahano. Right now, these are the things they look at it, how your behavior, without asking any question. After the interview, also they said, okay, can they almost tell you, you satisfied, and they ask you about you. And also, while you're going, also, others people are look at it you. So why all this thing arrange? For see how you face this different situation. That's test you, your personal characteristics. I'm just telling you, being for so many times as an interview panel, I know what we look at it. What these people, we are not going to give marks for that, but we can see how confident you are, how you answer the questions. So it is not a good, it is a duty of an interview panel to put you in the calm. Right? But you are facing a new environment. First time maybe. Once you go for 3-4 interviews, you know how to handle that, right? So these are the type of interviews in the have it in such a manner to test your know-how. How you check your characters. Right? Okay. I just tell you some importance of interviews, right? Okay. Now there's a cost involved in it, right? Selection. So because if you have not found the correct person, we need to re-advertise, reconducting the interview. So therefore, huge cost, right? So through the interview, what we are trying to do, we try to usually correct the best person. Right. Now I told you 100 people came for an interview and they may check in different things. Now you may take 5 people, say for an example. Now what are you going to do? Now you have done the selection process completed. Still not you have taken to the organization. Remember that. Still not select you, not take you to the organization. We have selected only. Again, both can be changed. From your side, you may say, I don't accept the offer. From the bank side, they say, no, we have selected, but it can be changed. It's not given you a guarantee whether you have taken to the organization or not. Then, how you become a part and parcel of an organization? Once the best applicant is identified, an offer should be made through an appointment letter. Both parties should sign the appointment letter, and then only if you agree the terms and conditions specified in your appointment letter, then only once you hand it over only, you become a part and parcel of the organization. So therefore, HR procurement. Third part is hiring part. Clear? I think you understood that. Okay? Right. So once you identify the appointment letter, they give you some things. Now I want to ask from you. There's two conditions in your appointment letter is incorporated. What is these two conditions? What we have learned? Can anybody tell me? Can anyone tell me what are the two conditions you sign? Kalinga, වැලිවෙන හැනේ appointment letter එක මේ job එක අපුණා මොන මගුලද කියලා ගැව්වා දුන්නා. මේකේ මොනවද තියෙනවද දන්නේ නැහැ. හෙට කිව්වොත් එහෙම මට මෙයාව දෙන්න ඕනේ girlfriend ඕල හරි එකක් කිව්වොත් එහෙම මලා. Right? So what is the two things usually incorporated in your appointment letter other than the terms and conditions all? According
Duty of
to
secrecy.
duty of secrecy. Good. What is the other one?
Code of conduct.
Huh?
Code of conduct.
Yeah, how
Conduct.
you call code of conduct? So in our terms, we are calling customer what? Yeah, code of conduct, correct. But how you call
Charter.
customer?
Charter.
Charter. Very good. Now, earlier we don't want to have a customer charter into the appointment letter, right? Now, usually secrecy and customer charter, you are incorporated to the, to your appointment letter. So that means you have to oblige that. Right? Now you see where we have learned, try to incorporate here. Right, good, good. Thank you very much. You know something, right? Okay, going back again now. Now, once you now hire it, are you putting immediately to the job? Again, depend on the type of the job. Now, say you are a banking assistant or whoever, immediately you come to the bank. Yes, but there are some people who have joined from another bank for a higher grade. Are you having an induction? So some sort of orientation? Yes. Whatever the post usually will give. But it may be vary from person to person and how they are going to give the orientations or induction. Now for a newly recruited, newly selected people, may have a formal induction program. Now what is induction program mean? Now remember, questions asked on this area. Process of making the new member familiar to the organization as well as familiar to the working condition. That's the objective of induction. Make it familiar to the organization and to the industry and to the work environment and to the organization. Right? Sometimes your appointment letter, you mentioned that so certain period of time during your new employee who has hired for the permanent post for an organization can be terminated. Now, even you get the appointment letter, right? Remember, that's the important thing. Even though you get an appointment letter, if there is a probationary period clause, right? So you can terminate. Now, through the probationary period, you really try to understand or try to look at it whether you are really fitting to the organization. So the probationary period, the management can take 2-3 things. What they can take? They can extend it your probationary period, or you can terminate the services from that point, or you may make it permanent. So that is why when you join the bank, you are very honest, very contributed, well-deserved person. No, once you get permanent, malara carry, then IT rights, right? So that's the people, human being, no, right? So through the probationary period, you are very obedient employee. Once you get the permanency, right? So that's the normal way people behave, right? Okay. So what are the benefits of an organization to conduct an orientations or induction program? right? You can motivate the staff, right? And also reduce the expenditure. Why? Because you explain everything. You don't want to recruit again, right? Actually, it is an initial training given by your organization. Now, I'm always telling, I think most of you are adults and most of you have learned your O level, and we learn in our O level, right? Milk, the mother's first milk, right? So if a mother give birth to a child, the first milk feed by the mother is not the meal, but it give you a lot of enzymes and lot of material for you to get fitting to the environment, right? So likewise, the first training you are getting is called orientations, right? So usually, what sort of information or what sort of trainings you will cover, what sort of topic you are going to cover under orientation program. Now I am telling you, so if you are working in a bank, you supposed to answer these type of questions. Why? Because you have gone through. Now the students who have not still joined any organization, or maybe after A level, so they may not know practically these things. But the students who are working in the bank can easily answer these type of questions, because you have gone through this process. I think all the banks are almost same. So what are the information? So what are the areas they covered? They usually covered in your induction period: objectives, the goals, and the philosophy, vision, HR, administrative things like, again, charter, organizations, number of branches, history about your organization. They talk about the product and services, right? How many branches, what is operational activities, what divisions in the organizations, like that, right? So you need to look at it all when you're arranging or orientation program, right? I think I don't want to spend more much time on this because you have enough experience on this, right? Another area, right? Another area, important area, delegation. Now, delegation is the downward transfer of formal authority from a one person to another. This is something extra, right? I have incorporated delegation. Now, sometimes, suppose you act as a assistant manager. Say you are act as an assistant manager. Now, manager want to take suddenly 1 or 2 leave. Now, who is acting as a manager? Usually, unless otherwise, if you get it from another branch, from the head office, usually assistant manager need to be act as a manager. Usually, not like any other places. Usually, in the banking, the principals, assistant manager need to be sit in the manager's room. I don't know how many of your banks are doing, but usually the, especially the branch, the assistant manager need to be sit in the branch room, manager's room. And need to be there. Now, then delegation is the downward transfer of formal authority. Now, you as a manager, you have some authority, right? So if you somebody to act as a manager, you must provide them authority. So that is delegation. So through the delegation, remember, the junior person have some experience, online experience, gain knowledge, right? Those are the objective. Improve his leadership qualities, because now why he use it as a manager, right? He is trying to apply his knowledge in the real life situation. So these are some of the objective you come across with the with this delegations. But some managers are a little bit reluctant to delegate. Some managers are reluctant to delegate. Why? Why some senior managers are reluctant to delegate? What is the reason? ඊට පස්සේ දුන්නේ ගහ පැත්තක ඕගොල්ලෝ පොර වෙනවනේ නේද? So therefore we don't want to delegate. Now why they are reluctant to delegate? So they feel it, the manager feel it, so he may lose his power. Suppose the delegated person have a smart guy, he may doing that job better than the manager. What happened? When the manager comes, an employee staffs in the branch will tell, so like that. So you fear on that also, right? So you feel it, your subordinate is doing better than you, and you basically face some uncomfortable situation. That's the one. Suppose if you are a talented manager, you know everything, you don't want to afraid to delegate, because you know you are competent enough. If you are not competent enough only, you are basically not willing to delegate. Sometimes they delegate, but without giving any authority. They don't want to delegate without giving authority. Without giving authority is no point of delegating. Right? And sometimes it's suspicious, less faithfulness. Suppose sometimes the manager say, ඔයාට දුන්න නම් වඩා හොඳයි මම්ම කළා නම් මට double work there, like that. That means you have, as a manager, you have not groomed up your people. Right? So reason a senior manager is reluctant to delegate, because whatever said and done, end of the day, the manager need to take the responsibility. So we have not what you call faith on his staff. Another reason, right? There are many reasons why manager usually reluctant to delegate. But in a bank, usually the delegation functions is normally taking place. Why? Because branch has to run, right? Okay, clear? Right. Now, therefore, we move into the next. Now, Tude 2 is finished, right? Any questions you need to answer before I moving to the question number Tude 3? Dilakshi, okay? Clear, Gayatri? Mahima?
Yes, sir, clear.
Right, okay. So then we move into Tude number 3. That's the last tude in HR also, right? Okay. Now we are moving to another important things. Now HR is, I keep on telling you, it's a short course for HRM, and it's a drama. It's a teledrama, series of dramas. Now we have done a recruitment, we have selected, we give them a appointment letter, and then we give him a induction, and now you are there, you're working. Now we want to find it out whether you are really performing We need to appraise you. So that is what you call the performance appraisal. Performance appraisal can come in many names like performance evaluation, performance appraisal, performance assessment, employer appraisals, like that. Whatever said and done is almost same. Now, performance is a process of collecting evidence to measure productivity of employee for the purpose of making variety of decisions. Evaluating you, the management will take variety of decisions. What are the type of decisions you are going to take based on your performance? We'll look at it little later. Actually, the process, the appraisal mean basically gathering, analyzing, recording information about your performances. Right? Okay. And also it is a systematic way to examine how well an employee is performing in his job. Some logical manner or systematical manner, we are going to evaluate your performances. And also remember, the P is the methodology where I give your feedback to to the employee. This is how you perform. In what I understood, the feedback is not happening in very well in Sri Lankan banks when employees are evaluation. Most of the feedback given is not the true picture. Sometimes the feedback is an opportunity for revenge you, take a revenge you. Right? Okay. Feedback in Sri Lanka is not so good. And also it facilitates. So to encourage the positive performances. Right? So therefore, it can achieve a lot of objectives. Let me look at it now. What are the performance appraisal objectives? We discuss through performance appraisal can take many decisions. One of the decisions is what? Identify your training and development needs. The performance appraisal is some sort of a SWOT analysis. Identify your strengths and weaknesses and tell you these are your weaknesses. Oh, you are a good guy, but you need to improve your performances. For that, you need certain knowledge, skill, and things like that. So how can you fulfill that? Providing a better training. So therefore, performance appraisal objectives: 1, identify training and development needs. And also you can make use of performance appraisal to evaluate your training and development programs. How can that? How can the performance appraisal evaluating your training just like this? Now say, example. Now this year, when you evaluate I have noted that your computer literacy and computer knowledge, or maybe how to get into the system, right, to get the customers fast track records and things, you are not very much good. So having identified this here, that as an weaknesses of you, manager take actions to send you a training program to get the knowledge about this. Okay. Now end of the year, next year, you look at it whether, how about your performances? Now you are doing everything is perfectly. That means what? So you got a good training. Suppose if you are the same way, either one thing, your training is not effective, or that is due to other reasons. Right? Now, performance appraisal, while identify the training needs, and it can be measure your effectiveness of the training program. So performance appraisal take a lot of decisions, right? Okay. Okay, then provide feedback regarding your strengths and weaknesses, as I told you, through the feedback. Performance appraisal, designing your salary increment. Performance appraisal, design your promotions. And not only the performance, what level you are. Above average, below average, like that. Or performance appraisal also sometimes can take some disciplinary actions. You have been keep on telling you how to improve your performances. It's not. Sometimes you can take actions against you. Right? So therefore, performance appraisal, right, benefited both organization as well as the employee. Sometimes some people or some textbooks talk about the purposes of performance appraisal. Some people are talk about the purposes for administrative purposes as well as the development purposes. Now, the development purposes, you can use performance appraisal for training requirement, find out its effectiveness, give you proper directions, productivity and all. But for the administrative purposes, you can use it for promotions, discipline, transfers, right, rewarding or whatever. A lot of decisions can take. Right. Then come the issues. Now, who is going to conduct your performances evaluation? Sometimes your evaluator. The evaluator may be your boss, whoever, right? Blah, blah. Then some issues, whether it's an accepted method, and research found that, I read a recent article written by McKinsey. They said a lot of employees, they are not happy with their organizational, their own performance appraisal method due to various reasons. Right? Okay, they like organization, but they don't like their performance evaluation system. Right? So therefore, there may be a lot of issues we need to address. One of the major issues you come across is from the evaluator. The guy who evaluates your assessment. Okay, let's look at it. Some of the errors. One is horn and halo impact. Now this is, you may come across these things. Now suppose your employee is extremely competent in one good area. What manager or supervisor who are going to evaluate is going to do? He's going to give you all the other areas at higher rates. You are good at one area. That is a first impression. So you think all other things are there. Now, I just take an example. When your brother or sister or brother is going to find out a partner for your life as a proposal marriage. So once you go there, usually how the girl is there, having nice saris, well dressed, a very calm, quiet, all, no, right? And then what happened? Your brother, assuming that everything she's like that. That is why hello impact. But it's not like that, but she usually wear shorts, go getter, and things like that. Likewise, the employee thinking, right? Look at it, good area, and his other areas he considers to be considered as the same, and he try to give you a overall higher marks for everything. But that is other way also right. You are not good at අර සින්දුවකුත් තියෙනවානේ කොණ්ඩේ කපලා ඉන වටේට හොරෙද්ද යන්න හිටුවා කිව්ව මතකනේ සෝ ඒ උනාට එහෙම නෙමෙයි right සින්දුවකුත් තියෙනවා නේද කොණ්ඩේ බැනන් ඉන්න ගානට මොකද්ද කියලා තියෙන්නේ ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද so don't think I am so bad in one area. That is hello impact. So that song is talk about hello impact, right? So hello mean if you look at it low area, you consider everything is like that. Second is recency. Now, what is recency mean? Now, the appraiser gives more weight to the recent occurrences and discounts earlier performance during the appraisal period. Now, we know, suppose your bank going to evaluate you, your manager is going to evaluate you end of the year. Now is come December. From September onwards or October onwards, you are a good employee. Comes every day, work hard, work till night, work till late, do everything what your boss is doing. Right. Now, your boss forgotten what you have done till September. Right. So that is, we are all a human being. No? So that is what the recency. Error. That's creeping to your evaluation. The guy who worked for the entire year may be getting low marks, low evaluation. Or sometimes maybe bias, maybe due to various reasons. Because you are my schoolmates, then maybe with my religion, same caste, or maybe same place we are living, or you are known to so and so, blah, blah, blah. It is an bias. So creeping to your results. Then some are very strictness. Apo, කාගාවටද මාව ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆර් කරලා දෙන්නේ එයාගාවටද අපෝ වැඩක් නැහැ කවදාකවත් මට හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ හොඳ evaluation එකක්. That's the manager's type. So she or he takes strictness when you are evaluating. Every aspect you look at it. Same level manager, he is very nice. So then who is victimized? Because of he working for a manager who's having strict, and certain manager very lenient, unfair. That is called the leniency, right? Some appraiser, අයියෝ වගේ හරි හොඳයි. අනේ මම මොකටද කාත් එක්කවත් තරහ වෙන්නේ කියලා හැමෝටම ලොකුවට දෙන්නෙත් නැහැ, අඩුවට දෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. 65 average. So everybody happy with me. So then what happened? The guy who work hard, I mean, why should I work hard? Right? You are treat me all as same. So that's another issue comes into the scene. Right? And next one is the central tendency. All employees within a narrow range. Right? Regardless you have process. Right? So central tendency. Leniency is, other one is very, I mean, they won't give low marks, but central tendency give the average okay. Everybody is good. Right? Okay. Sometimes, another error, you always try to compare with X with Y. And then try to give high marks to Y. Your comparison. X versus Y. So these are some of the drawbacks or problems you come across with when you are evaluating. Any questions someone want to ask? Now, up to now, you're clear, right? Those are issues about evaluate, right? Okay. Now let's look at it. The type of appraiser, right? What are the methods of appraiser? There are different methods. Some big organizations is today context. We call self-appraisal system. All are automated, right? So your own appraisal will be evaluated by a supervisor. Or maybe peers will evaluate you. Your colleague will evaluate you. Your boss is evaluating you. Your subordinate will evaluate you. Your customers are evaluating you. Like that, there are many methods of appraisal. Right. Let's look at it. The first one, the supervisor evaluate you. Now, depend on. Now, usually, once your supervisor evaluate you, right, based on certain criteria, usually, in today's context, they give you, this is how I appraise you. So you have a gut to tell that. This is how they may be like, that person may be not like for your assessment. This is how your supervisor feel. You always can tell it. Earlier, most of the time earlier, this appraiser considers to be as a weapon to control the employee. Why? Appraisal එකේ දාන විදිහට තමයි promotion ඔක්කොම පඩි වැඩි වෙන්නේ. ඒක කාටවත් කියන්නේ හොරෙන් තමයි යන්නේ. How you get to know? යාළුවෙක් වගේ ඉන්නවනම් personal එකේ shape එකේ information එනවා. Therefore, HR people are very like they view, right? හොරෙන් අපිට information ගන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද මගේ බොස මාව evaluate කළේ තියෙන විදිහ. දැන් ඔක කොහොමද අහන්නේ? මෙහෙමයි කරන්නේ. Now say, I just give you a practical situation. Now, those things are not happening now, right? Now say, Kusuma is working in a particular branch, particular division. Kusuma's friend or another person, maybe Sumana, is working in HR department. Now, Kusuma get to know he has appraised, and usually all these things send it to the HR department. දැන් මොකද කරන්නේ සුමනා ගන්නවා කුසුමට කෝල් එක අරන් කියනවා මේ කුසුමා ඔයත් එක්ක බොස් නිකන් හොඳ නැද්ද? We are not good terms with your boss. දැන් අර මිනිස්සයා හොල්මා කියනවා. Why you're telling Sumana? What's wrong with that? No, I'm just asking. Now Kusuma get upset. Why? Kusuma get to know boss has done an appraisal. Now, Sumana also not telling the true story. Why? Because he has to maintain the confidentiality. Now, Sumana spoiled the Kusuma. Now, from that message, Kusuma has not good terms with your boss. Right? So, the new modern appraisal systems try to avoid all these things. Now, manager said, here Kusuma, this is how I evaluate you, right? And this is, you agree or not? So you know what your boss has evaluate you. Now, there is no room for Sumana to spoil anything, right? Because of the improvement of your appraiser system. Usually today, once the boss is evaluate you, it's given to you to see. And that also good. And you can think, you feel it. That means you need to work little harder than this. Right? Okay. So there may be another method we call guided assessment. So that is which is about there is some guidance given and performance elements and criteria. They may be grading, rate employees in the number of areas about the job knowledge and all, and result-oriented schemes and the behavior incident scheme. So don't worry much of this. These are type of appraisal. These are not method of appraisal. Remember, these are the type of appraisal where you are going to you can appraise you, right? And a method is what you call the appraisal, self-appraisal, as I told you. Boss and you appraise. And today we talk about 360 approaches, 360-degree approaches. But only disadvantage is 360 approach is time consuming. You cannot use to each and every employee. 360 approach means it try to eliminate bias. Now say 360 means, say you are a manager of a branch. You were evaluated by your AGM or regional manager or zonal manager or whoever. And you evaluated by your subordinates. That means your branch staff. You may evaluated by your other next branch manager sometime. You are evaluated by your customers. So you are evaluated in a different angles. So then, because of this type of system, you are trying to be good with your staff. Why? Otherwise, you know, they will talk, they will send you a bad. And remember, so you are getting the feedback from your evaluation from your staff that show your leadership style. Right? So you're going to be good with your customers because they are going to evaluate you. Now you're good with your colleagues, other managers surrounding area. Why? You need to support them. And you have to good terms with your boss. So even though boss is not good terms, all others are good, there's something wrong with your boss. Right? So therefore 360-degree evaluation or performance evaluation supposed to be a good one. But only thing is that cannot be applied for each and every job, and it is time consuming and it's also costly. Right? But 360 is good for a little upper positions. Right. Okay, I think you understood. There's another one we call bell curve performance appraisal. Now, what is bell curve appraisal performance appraisal system? Now, the bell curve performance appraisal system is like this. Bell mean like this. Bell curve like this. Now, your organization's people divided into different stages. Different stages. So based on the employees, based on their performance, and they will reward or penalize accordingly. Now the entire workforce is segregated as top performers, medium performers, poor performers. Your entire employees divided into three types. Good guys, medium guys, bad guys. Now if you look at the chart like this, a bell curve, right? You work it out. Usually 20% are considered to be a very good ones. That's the first part. The majority of them are middle level, that is a 70%. The last guy, bad guys, are bottom or 10%. So the people who belongs to the higher grades contribute significantly to the organization. That means 20%. The middle level employees are significant in the number and their presence ensures interrupted workflow. They are not exceptional guys, but they are okay guys. But the last guys, so they are not performing well, they need to be more improvement. Their working are not satisfactory. So that is what, based on that, you were rewarded, were evaluated. That is called bell curve performance appraisal. That means your entire organization staff divided into 3. Work hard, best performers or top performers, medium performers, and poor performers. Accordingly, you value your employee staff. Right? That is called bell curve performance appraisal. Right. Having discussed this, we now moving to another important area is what you call the reward management. Right? Now, your payments. What are the strategy you are using? What is the policy of your organization to pay your salary, pay your other benefits, right? And it is called the what? And it is called the reward management. Now, reward management, what is an objective of the reward management? Now, it's benefited to attract good quality people for your organization. We discussed recruitment. Good reward always motivate employees. You can keep talented people within your own organization. And sometimes you need to have a minimum salary to fulfill the legal requirement. And also, you need to ensure quality. Ensure equity, sorry. What is that? Within, you're trying to compare always X bank with Y bank. What is X banks are giving? Y bank people may think. So there maybe you must be have some sort of equity in the market. And also remember, reward, you need to employ cost, because I keep on telling you, apart from the interest cost, the other major cost in the bank is employee cost. So when you're deciding your rewarding or salary or compensation package, so you need to look at it, the cost factor as well. So what is pay? Pay is basically, we call them as, if you say pay, is the basic reward an employee received. It can be usually from the wage or the salary. What do you mean by a wage and salary? What is the difference? Wage is you consider to be a non-managerial employee in exchange for a work. Whereas salary, usually we call them as a management employee. Right? So sometimes they use interchangeably. Right. So payment in return to the contribution the employees make to the organization. So therefore, significance of performance management employer consider it as an expenditure. Yes, no? Harini adividama. Employee views is an income to him. So therefore, if you take the employer and the employee, always you have a conflict. Why? Employee asking more money, employer try to give the low reward to you. So managing this conflict is a job of a HR guy, right? And it is the job of a human resource management as well as this reward management. Because always there's a conflict. Employer expectations and employee expectation. Right? It's very difficult to satisfy. That is why we need to have a better RM system. So what are the factors you consider for better reward system? So look at it, market rates. What are the market rates? Banking assistant, what are the other market rates? Affordability of your own organization. Culture and the value system. Collective bargaining with unions. Government intervention. Cost of living. Demand and supply of people. Productivity of people. Competitive pay, like market rates. All factors you need to get it when you're considering your salary. Right? Okay. Now, in banks, we have two systems. Collective agreement-based remuneration system and performance-based remuneration system. A lot of private banks are now going for performance-based remuneration systems. So collective agreement-based remuneration system means determine employee remunerations of all grades through agreement between trade unions and management of a fixed period. Now, a lot of banks like famous banks in Sri Lanka, all government banks like NSB, POC, Bank of Ceylon, and PB, and other banks. Those are the three main banks. Go for collective agreement base. But some banks are gone for performance-based remuneration system. So the remuneration is based on individual or team performances. Right? Okay. So next week, we are going to discuss how this performance-based remuneration system is good for an individual, it's good for an organization, and bad for the industry. What are the repercussions or drawbacks of having performance-based remuneration system? Right? Good things and the bad things. Right? Okay, what are the weaknesses of performance-based? What are the advantages to both employer and the employee? So what factors you need to consider in such a cases? Right? Okay. So this will be discussed in detail next week along with other areas. Right? So I hope we can finish next week, but we'll see. And then we'll take a decision about our sessions, right? Okay, may have the revision somewhere in November, right? So all English revisions I will take. There, of course, we will prepare a modern question paper with including the past, we will discuss. My tentative dates for revision class, I don't know whether you need to pay or not, I don't know. Just check with institution. That's the revision class. I'm going to take up with you, not this time, right? I can't remember exact time, but exam dates, most probably mid-November, right? And we are going for a 6 days. Mind you, what time you think? Every day, the scheduled dates from 8 o'clock, not in the morning, in the night, till 10 o'clock. Right? So, going to have 12-hour session, revision, 8 to 10, night. ඒ වගේ දවස් 6ක්. දර දෙකේ වහයක් 12. All like that. Most of them, most of our like that. Somehow on the Saturday, Sunday. But my one is Saturday, weekdays, most probably night, 8 to 10. Right? So dates, I think IBSL will communicate to you. That we'll discuss sort of a modern question and answer.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So what about the exam dates? It will not
Exam, that is what the moment we got a signal, we may have it, provided that because first of all, as I told you, we need to get the support from our teachers, Govin, right? Now, since A-level may going little late, if they started, we may go for somewhere in possible in December or January, right? Most probably late December or during the January. I don't think we have enough time to pass the part down, right? I don't know. So these are what our predictions. Okay, Kalik, right? So you have enough time. Enough time. I know you are past the exam, definitely. Right. Any more questions? I have another lecture at 3:30 here, right? So we'll wind up today and we will see you on next Sunday. We try to finish it off and provided maybe another one, maximum of another 2 weeks. Okay, so we are going to close the chapter. Thank you.
Thank you.